Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanek and John Vias, Peter Brown with the weather, and Gretchen Carey with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us. The Burlington Parks and Recreation Department have been busy at work making improvements to Simonds Park. The Treehouse construction is underway, and BNEWS reporter John Vias paid a visit and has this update on the Treehouse's progress.
There's a new addition to Simonds Park in development, perfect for those who like to explore or catch some fresh air. Burlington Parks and Recreation is currently working on a brand new, universally accessible treehouse. A first for the town. Soon guests will have a new way to view the parks and other surrounding parts of town. Parks and Recreation Director Brendan Egan talks more about how the idea came to be.
A good 3 or 4 years ago, we started talking with the Simonds Trust about a special project. One of the ideas that came through from our program coordinator, Kelly Lehman, was a life-size treehouse like you see on TV. She reached out to the treehouse guys in Vermont, through a connection with one of the trustees, Joshua Simonds, and they came down and worked with us on what we'd like to see, looked at the area behind us. We were approached by the Gillingham family. They just lost their mother, and the 4 sons wanted to do something in memory of both of their parents. Natalie Gillingham was a longtime employee of the Parks and Recreation Department. She retired right before I started, but her son Doug was our maintenance director, and we gave him a list of projects, and the brothers chose the treehouse as something they wanted to make a donation towards.
The treehouse will be easily accessible to all.
Doesn't matter your ability, you should be able to get to the highest point in the treehouse and enjoy those views. It's something that families can enjoy, individuals can enjoy. There'll be a 16 by 16 octagon that people can see the different views of the park.
The treehouse is 50% complete, and the nice weather has kept progress going smoothly. Not only will guests be inspired to spend more time outdoors and appreciate a nice view from the top afar, but it also means more fun programs and family events to be planned by Burlington Parks and Recreation. Egan hopes to open up the treehouse in early November.
Once that's completed, we'll have a grand opening later in November, but then the programming aspect of it will start. I see our program division offering nature programs, maybe some small natural art type classes. Our Club Simonds program, which is here all summer, will obviously be able to take advantage of it as well. They'll have an opportunity to do those things and also spend some time in the treehouse.
From Simonds Park, this is John Vias for BNEWS Weekly.
In addition to the new treehouse, renovations to Simonds Park's basketball courts are also underway. Following approval of a May town meeting warrant article, the improvements for the project went out to bid in August. Local Burlington business Seller Construction, Inc. was awarded the project. The renovation project includes resurfacing, new lighting, and new basketball support systems. Portions of the parking lot around the courts will be closed during the project, so people are asked to use the entrance on Church Lane if you need to park in the lot. The Burlington Conservation Department is asking residents to adopt a drain or drains in their neighborhood as part of the effort to keep Burlington's waterways clean. Burlington is part of the Mystic River Stormwater Coalition, which is dedicated to protecting rivers, streams, and wetlands, as well as keeping the stormwater that goes into them as clean as possible. Burlington residents can help by simply walking outside and look for a drain in your neighborhood and keep an eye on it, making sure it's all clear before we have a big snowstorm or rain event. The Conservation Department has gotten calls about streets flooding in Burlington, and upon inspection, the cause is usually a clogged storm drain. As part of the Adopt a Drain program, not only are you helping keep our local environment clean and healthy, you could be preventing street flooding in your neighborhood. Burlington DPW Business Manager Rachel Leonardo was recently before the Select Board seeking feedback regarding possible changes and increases to the outdoor watering ban fine structure. As it stands, the penalty for the first violation is a written warning, a second violation is a $50 fine, and the third and subsequent violations are a $100 fine per day. Leonardo's initial proposal is keeping the first 2 penalties the same and changing the third offense to a $300 fine. During discussion, Select Board Chair Nick Priest suggested having the second offense be a $100 fine. Leonardo took note of the board's members' concerns and suggestions. The next issue will be revisited at the next Select Board meeting. The common complaint being heard around town is that why are we part of the MWRA and spending all of that money if we're going to be on a permanent water ban? This particularly from people who are spending a lot of money on lawns and flowers. Rabbi Susan Abramson and the members of Temple Shalom Emeth here in Burlington are celebrating Judaism's most important holiday, Sukkat, with their traditional Sukkat. BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak visited the temple and has this report.
If you happen to notice a brightly decorated booth at Temple Shalom Emeth, you might be wondering what it is.
This thing is called a sukkah, and it's the hut that we construct on the holiday of Sukkot, which is one of the 3 harvest festivals in the Jewish tradition. And actually, it's the most important holiday in the Torah and the Bible, believe it or not. It's called Hechag, the holiday. And it was the harvest festival in the fall when the Israelites in ancient days would harvest their crops and bring them the first fruits to the synagogue in Jerusalem to be sacrificed to show their gratitude to God, and it's kind of like the Jewish Thanksgiving. Well, so these are 2 implements that we have on the holiday of Sukkot that we actually wave in all directions during our Sukkot holiday and during our Sukkot services. This is called a lulav, and this is called the etrog. This is an etrog plant. After Sukkot is over, I cut up the etrog and give all the kids a little piece of it, and there are lots of seeds that the kids take home. And one of our temple members planted an etrog seed and grew this very large etrog plant. And the lulav has 3 species. It's symbolic of different parts of the body and different aspects of Judaism. All 4 are from Israel, so it reminds us of the state of Israel. And on Sukkot, we put them together and we shake them in all directions like that to show us that, to remind us that God is everywhere. Traditional Jews actually live in the sukkah for 8 days, and they eat all their meals there, they sleep there, because it's supposed to be a reminder of the harvest festival and a reminder of how the Israelites harvested their crops on their way to Israel. And so it's a very, very special time. We invite, it's called Ushpizin. We invite friends and other relatives and neighbors to join us in the sukkah. It's called visitors or guests. And so there's also a tradition that at the beginning of Sukkot, we're supposed to invite our matriarchs and patriarchs from our Jewish ancestors into the sukkah to remind us of our connection to the Jewish people throughout time. So we invite everybody to join us in the sukkah and to celebrate this joyous occasion with us. We also invite the kids in particular to come and decorate the sukkah in whatever way they want to make it more special. Every year we make the longest paper chain in temple history that the kids make to decorate the sukkah, and we have different fruits hanging there and pictures of Sukkot and all of that.
From Temple Shalom Emeth, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak.
October 9th is commonly recognized as Ugandan Independence Day, and this year marks the nation's 60 years of that independence. Known as the Pearl of Africa, Uganda is home to over 45 million people. More than 50,000 Ugandans live and work here in New England, making it the largest Ugandan population in the Northern Hemisphere. A special breakfast was recently held for local businesses at the Burlington Marriott to celebrate Ugandan Independence Day. Select Board Chair Nicholas Priest presented a proclamation on behalf of the Select Board commemorating the nation's 60th Independence Day birthday. Chairman Priest told BNews it was a great opportunity to connect with the Ugandan community of New England and Burlington and not only celebrate their 60th year of independence, but to extend open arms of collaboration within the community moving forward. A newly developed military branch, the United States Space Force, is America's shield and sword in the final frontier. Thanks to Ted for that Star Trek reference. BNews reporter Tad Stefanak visited Burlington Space Force recruiting office.
You know, space is hard. It used to be all we had to worry about was astrophysics, Kepler's law, gamma rays, solar flares, rocket science, black holes, and the theory of relativity. But now we also track about 30,000 objects, orbiting at over 17,500 miles an hour. And our entire way of life depends on us to protect our satellites from attack day and night.
The United States Space Force is the real deal, defending America and her interests. GPS, cell phones, gas pumps, traffic lights, you name it. And Space Force is recruiting personnel, known as Guardians, right here in Burlington. at 25 Mall Road. Guardian Lieutenant Colonel Spears and Training Sergeant Uristi.
First question I get all the time as a Guardian is, the Space Force is real? Question mark. And I have to say yes, and it's real and it exists for a reason. The intent for the Space Force as it sits today is to be an agile warfighting and small enough to do that. We're at this point in time going to leverage Air Force infrastructure to make sure that we have everything that we need to operate and do our job. But we will always be part of the Department of the Air Force, almost like the Marine Corps part of the Department of the Navy.
At the tender age of 3, Space Force is by far the U.S. military's youngest branch, accepting service personnel and also civilians up to 39 years old.
What's really great about the Space Force is they are the youngest branch, and they have the ability to really make a new culture, a new way of business for the military, and they're going fast with it, and it's great. The Guardian Ideal is a great way to truly understand what the Space Force is looking for in their personnel, civilians, officers, enlisted especially. It's very unique, and it's fantastic to see what they're doing. If you want to learn more, spaceforce.com is great, but the Guardian Ideal, if you really want to know what the Space Force is looking for and how they're going to build their culture in the next couple of years, that's a great place to start.
I've done tracking debris in low Earth orbit to include satellites, rocket bodies to ensure space flight safety. I've also done strategic missile warning for NORAD and NORTHCOM. My favorite job, though, in the Space Force was launching rockets. I've launched 3 rockets carrying 6 payloads to geosynchronous orbit.
With NASA eyeing a manned moon landing by 2025 and plans for a permanent lunar outpost,
The Space Force, specifically United States Space Command, is responsible for 100 kilometers and up and out, really, to and past the moon. So Space Force Guardians will support lunar missions. At this point, human spaceflight safety is always a priority. It will make sure that we get to the moon and back safely.
So if you're between 17 and 39 years old, you're a U.S. citizen, and you have a high school diploma, you are tentatively qualified. We still go through some additional factors because when you join the Space Force, you're going to get a top secret security clearance. So we ensure that you meet those additional requirements. You're competing against everyone throughout the entire United States that are applying. You get 1 of 3 ratings. If you have the top 2 ratings, you then are vying for a Space Force job.
Space Force, defending the United States space domain. From Space Force Recruiting, I'm BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak.
Leaf peeper season is here, so let's have a look at your weather with BNEWS meteorologist Peter Brown, followed as always by the community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 days. Here we are heading in towards the 3rd week of October. I know it's hard to believe that we're that far into the fall. And starting at our period on Friday, we should be seeing temperatures at this time of the year in the mid-60s, and we're actually going to be up around 70 on Friday to start out our weekend. That unfortunately is going to come with the chance of some heavy rain and some high winds out there, especially in the morning on Friday. So even though you'll need an umbrella, I would definitely not recommend you taking one with you, as it will probably turn inside out on Friday morning, as we could see winds gusting as high as 50 miles an hour from the south, bringing in some real warm air ahead of a pretty strong cold front that's going to be coming through our area. It's going to lead to a fairly nice weekend and then kind of an unsettled period coming up for us. As we get towards the end of the period, our temperatures at that time of the year should only be in the low 60s, and we're probably only going to be in the low to mid 50s by the end of the week. So a real cold shot of air coming into the Burlington area for the next 7 days. And of course, as we head in further towards October and into the middle of fall, the length of day keeps getting shorter and shorter. And actually, unfortunately, in only a few weeks from now, we will be turning the clocks back again, meaning unfortunately we're going to be seeing those sunsets happening at 4:30 in the afternoon. I know it's hard to believe that we're that far along in the year already, but something we have to contend with. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us here in the Burlington area in terms of temperatures and precipitation for the next 7 to 10 days. And looking at our temperature map, looks like we're going to see a fairly good chance of seeing below average temperatures actually over most of the eastern half of the United States. And the Burlington area is certainly going to be no exception to that. And as we look at our precipitation chances, looks like we may have some above average precipitation. Now, pairing that when we're getting in towards the middle of the fall with cooler than average temperatures usually means some pretty cold rain out there. Could also mean at nighttime we could see the introduction of, yes, I know people don't want to hear it, the introduction of snowflakes into the forecast. And that could be a possibility as we get in towards the nighttime in the middle of next week. So keep that in mind, folks. Nothing bad out there, of course, but just keep in mind it could be cold enough to see a little bit of mixed wet snow with some rain next week. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at those 7 days of weather coming up. And again, starting out our period on Friday, we're going to see those high winds and warm temperatures out there with highs near 70. Thereafter, a cold front's going to come through, and it's going to take really till Monday for those, until a secondary cold front comes through to really knock our temperatures down. Looks like we're going to have a fairly pleasant weekend with temperatures in the 60s. And then our temperatures take a nosedive down into the 50s on Monday, and then probably down into the mid to upper 40s as we get in towards the middle of next week. And of course, at night, getting chilly out there, we're going to have a stubborn low pressure center over us with some precipitation. There is a chance we could see some wet snowflakes just mixed in with the raindrops, especially as we get in towards next Wednesday night into Thursday. Thereafter, the temperatures start to rebound a little bit, but again, still chilly out there as we get into Thursday with highs only in the mid to upper 50s. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your Community Calendar. WBCN and the American Revolution, how a radio station defined politics, counterculture, and rock and roll. Wednesday, October 19th, from 6 to 8:30 p.m., the Burlington Public Library is having a film screening and book signing by Peabody Award-winning journalist Bill Lichtenstein. See the amazing untold story of WBCN, the radical underground Boston radio station, set against cultural changes of the late 1960s and early 1970s. Visit burlingtonpubliclibrary.org for more. Trunk or Treat. Sunday, October 23rd from 1 to 4 p.m., the Burlington Girl Scouts are holding their 4th annual Trunk or Treat event. Join in by decorating a trunk so kids from all over Burlington can trick or treat from one car to the next. The more trunks we have, the more fun it is. Happening at the Burlington High School faculty parking lot. Visit the Girl Scouts of Burlington Facebook for more. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your Community Calendar.
Turning now to sports, the Red Devils football had a tough loss in Wakefield last week at Landrigan Field on Friday, October 7th, and we have these highlights for you.
The Red Devils are still on the move as they took on the Wakefield Warriors at Landrigan Field on Friday, October 7th. Wakefield starts the game with kickoff. The ball is caught by number 11 Red Devil wide receiver John Mello, but he gets tackled on the 30-yard line. With 5:40 left on the clock in the first quarter, it's the Warriors' ball. And Wakefield quarterback number 11, Javen Willis, passes the ball over to wide receiver number 8, Stephen Woish, for the first touchdown of the game, but no field goal point. Unfortunately, this wouldn't be the only time the Warriors would score, as they gained an extra 7 points before the end of the quarter by running back number 21, Nathan Delgado. The second quarter starts, and even after another Wakefield touchdown with successful 2-point conversion, the Devils are still unleashing their inner strength. The Warriors were a tough match, and although the Devils played through the end and put up a fair fight, they go home with a loss of 35-0 Wakefield. But their season's not even close to being halfway finished yet. They get knocked down, but they keep getting back up, as they plan to take on the Wilmington Wildcats on Friday, October 14th. This is John Vias for BNEWS Sports.
The Varsity Field returfing project is now complete. BNews reporter Tad Stefanak spoke to BHS Athletic Director Sean Hart on the project and how teams have managed without a home field.
If you haven't noticed already, Burlington High School's Varsity Field has some brand spanking new turf. And like everything else on the planet, the project met with supply chain issues.
You know, when you're a little bit off timeline and things start to, creep in and things like that, it's always tense, because you're trying to get everything done for the kids and you don't want them to miss games and we don't want to miss practices and everybody's shuffling around. But I will say a huge debt of gratitude has to go to the coaching staff and the kids. They don't miss a beat. We brought everybody in at the beginning of the season and we sat down and had a conversation about what things that were going to occur were going to be in our way. And football practiced on the practice field every single day, didn't use the turf at all. Field hockey and boys and girls soccer in harmony together using one field over at Marshall Simonds. The JV teams using the grass next door. Again, no arguments, no concern, no complaint, just doing what they needed to do. Again, this changes, the field being done changes the course for cross country. Both the boys and girls cross country teams, again, on the practice field while football's practicing and not letting that get in the way. They're just talking to each other. There was some harmony. It's nice to see that if you take the field out of the equation, that this staff and these kids get along so well that they're not willing to let something like this interfere. They keep the noise out, which was great. everybody wants to practice on it at least one time before they play on it, because you want to see how it runs and how it feels. Nobody's been on it yet. I think having, conversations with coaches, everybody was like, I'd rather not my first time be on it be a game. Let's have a practice on it. So right now it is our anticipation that we will try and get the football guys out here to practice on it. I'm going to try and get the band out here tonight to be on it. I'm going to try and get field hockey on it tomorrow. And then I'm hoping that we're going to play football here at 6 o'clock against Wilmington on Friday.
From Varsity Field, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak.
As Sean said, Red Devil football will be the first to break in the new turf, facing off against the Wildcats tonight, Friday. The Burlington Youth Soccer Association is gearing up for their first soccer night on Wednesday, October 19th. Both the BHS boys and girls varsity soccer teams will be competing against Melrose at home. The girls kick off at 5:30 p.m. and the boys will be at 7:30 p.m. All youth soccer players are encouraged to wear their jerseys to the event and support the varsity teams. Burlington Youth Soccer players grades 3 to 5 will escort the varsity players onto the field at game time, and all the youth soccer players will take the field for penalty kicks at halftime. Come show your Red Devil pride and fill the stands for the BHS varsity soccer team's first annual Burlington Soccer Night. For more information on the event, visit the BYSA's Facebook page. The games will be covered and live streamed by BCAT as well. Visit BCAT's Facebook page for the live stream. Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo was sent in to us by Steve Morin and shows a beautiful rainbow shining above Wayside Road. After some heavy rain, it's always nice to step outside, smell the fresh air, and look up at the sky. Thanks for the photo, Steve. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your outdoor activities, families, friends and pets, flowers, etc. The weather, sights around town, or anything else you'd like to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. And that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with Tad Stefanak, John Vias, Peter Brown, and Gretchen Carey. Thank you for joining us.